Jacksonville voters are heading back to the polls today. It is the first day of early voting. However, the trip to early vote is quite a hike for some people living on the outskirts of Duval County. So you can see this map next to me with the early voting sites, and not a lot here near the Duval-St. Johns County line. So we want to go out to Zach Wilcox. He's on your side tonight, joining us from the FSCJ Deerwood campus. That's off Bay Meadows. And Zach, some voters put a lot of miles in just to cast their ballots.
Yeah, Anthony, if you're looking at that map you were just showing, I'm at the very southeastmost early voting spot. So we've heard about food deserts. Well, how about an early voting desert? Because the county keeps going for another 15 miles or so down to the southeast corner, and this is the closest one for folks. So that's a good 20-minute drive or so. And fortunately, we have some officials who are working to try and add a more convenient option to those folks who want to early vote.
I really forgot today was early voting, but when I was passing by, I saw the signs, so I'm like, let me go ahead and vote and get this over with, because I vote in every election.
Early voting is always convenient for Shirley Jones. She lives less than a mile away from the FSCJ Deerwood site. It's the closest site to her, but it's also the closest site for voters in the Bartram-Nocatee area, all the way down by the county line.
That's kind of inconvenience for a lot of people after working all day and they're tired and they don't want to jump on 295 because the traffic is really backed up.
I made the trek from Bartram Springs Elementary School at the furthest southernmost point of Duval County to FSCJ Deerwood, the closest early voting site, a 14-mile drive that took more than 20 minutes. Supervisor of Elections Mike Hogan says they've spent months looking to add a site for folks near the county line, but there's a hurdle in the way.
We have to use public facilities, and they're just not, there's no libraries in that area, there's no community centers in that area.
Councilman Matt Carlucci says building things like that in areas with sudden population spikes can be tough to keep up with.
And the city is always chasing these new suburban sprawl neighborhoods. It's hard to stay ahead of new construction like that.
As for an early voting site, Carlucci said by looking at the map, he can see areas in just about every corner of the county that could use one.
Hopefully we can take a big view of this after the election and see, besides the southeast, where else there might be some new early voting sites.
So the supervisor of elections mentioned that there's a new law in place that will allow them to use a private facility if they need to for an early voting location. So that kind of expands the search here. They're looking at maybe hotels. Could be a parking issue there, but for now we still have the same 19 early voting sites that we've had for a while, this being one of them, and most of them are open 10 to 6 every day for the next 2 weeks, so voters can go by at their leisure. On the south side, Zach Wilcox, First Coast News, on your side.
All right, thanks.